Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Folks, for cutting-edge building materials, you can stay right here in Knoxville. There's no need to go to some big box store that has to ship stuff in from Oxnard. Drainage, waterproofing, synthetic stucco. They've got it all right here. Nudura concrete forms. All of these things make your project stronger, safer, and more energy efficient, more cost efficient for you. That's what A.G. Hines Company can do for you. That's what they did for your daddy. That's what they did for your great-granddaddy all the way back. They've been around for 100 years. A.G. Hines Company. Check them out this week in downtown Knoxville or right there online. All right, let's let you take a look at some defensive stats. Now, this is SEC foes only, so I took out the powder puff games, but the only two categories from 21 to 22 where Tennessee didn't get better was pass defense and the sacks, which I think go together. In SEC play, they went from 12th to 13th in the pass game. They went from 6th to 8th in terms of sacks, about 3 fewer sacks in SEC games last year. But scoring defense, a full touchdown better last year in Tim Banks' second year. That's a big jump. And for all the people, we talked about this last year, Tim Banks maybe was your best coordinator when you consider what he had to deal with because this team just got better and everybody looked at it and said, well, we couldn't stop this team or that team. When you compare them to the other SEC teams, that's the trick. Look at their rush defense, and you can say, well, the pass defense wasn't good. Yeah, but you got 75 yards per game better on rush defense. That's not just the 20 yards you lose in passing. Total defense was better. Takeaways, you increase those. Tackles for loss, you increase those, second best in the league. Look at the third down conversions. You were giving up 52% 2 years ago. You gave up 39% last year. And then red zone converting touchdowns, your opponents converting those red zone trips to touchdowns. They were dead last in the league at 84%. They were ninth. They went to the middle of the league. So, Marlon, when you look at the defense, you saw improvement from year 1 to year 2. Now you take some guys off that roster. First of all, do you think you can see improvement in year 3, or are you more thinking you'd be okay with just holding the fort where it is?
I think you can see improvement in year 3, and it goes back to number one, back end. I believe we got more athletic at corner and safety.
Yeah.
No slight to those guys that was there last year, but I think we got more athletic, which should be good for Banks because now I think he gets to do what he wants to do scheme-wise when you've got 2 corners that can cover. So I'm hoping that we've got more, with them being more athletic, we can cover a little bit better. And then the other thing is you've got some guys coming back on that defensive line, and then also you got some additions to the defensive line where I think we got a little bit more explosive, a little bit more athletic. So I think we can get better in year 3. I think it's going to take a little time. I don't think it's going to jump right off the screen at us. That's the reason why this spring is super crucial, especially on the back end. But I do believe we can get better.
If I gave you one choice, you could either be better with your pass rush or better on the back end. That's it. Those are the two. You're saying give me the corners, or are you saying give me the pass rush?
Give me the pass rush. And here's the reason why. As a former defensive lineman, one of the things we was told was they kind of go together.
Yeah.
If we get an interception, it's because we're getting pressure on the quarterback. So for me, I would rather go, all right, let's get better on the defensive line. Let's be dominant on the defensive line. Let's figure out how to get off the field on third downs. And I think all of that ties to can we get better pass rush? There was moments last year where I'm screaming at my TV, hey, we've got to get a pass rush. We've got to get a pass rush because I understand how those two go together. So for me, if you're asking, I understand having a lockdown corner, but if you got a good pass rush, you can take an average Joe and make him look a little bit better because that guy can only cover for so long because somebody's putting pressure on the quarterback.
One thing that helped that defense last year, it's a flip-flop. We always talk about how fast that system is, and it can throw you right back out there. But even though they were throwing you right back out there at times, they were putting the points up. Obviously, they were putting the points up. This year, no knock on Milton or Mel Keaton or the other guys there, Brew McCoy, but it's going to be, in my mind, it's going to be very difficult to replace the Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt, and then Cedric Tillman as the number 3. It's going to be very hard to replace that.
Yep.
So I wonder if that's not going to leave the defense a little bit more exposed. It's one thing when you get thrown back out there in a quick change, but you put touchdown, points on the board. It's another thing if you're not getting the points and it's a quick change. So I wonder if the defense may be a little bit more exposed, especially early in the years this offense get going with new guys. That may be something that fans need to kind of keep in mind.
No, you're on to something. That's the reason why I say give me a better pass rush. Because it is, you're losing all-world guys in Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt, even Cedric Tillman.
Darnell Wright's now.
Darnell
He's
Wright.
top
right.
10 some of these
exactly,
draft picks now. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm leaning more towards defense has to be better because you're going to be put in situations where offense is a little bit behind, and they're going to count on defense to get stops. But with this offense, I think if you give them enough opportunities, we're getting off the field, Hype will find a way to score points.
All right, very good. Marlon, hang around with us here. We're going to go back over to the other side of the desk, and we're going to talk with the rest of the guys about this NCAA thing. Tennessee had hoped to have this negotiated down. 70% of these NCAA cases don't go to a hearing. They're negotiated down. That's what Tennessee wanted. Now you're one of the 30% that's going to hearing. It got scheduled this week. We'll talk about what that means, good, bad, etc., next on The Sports Source.